Hey, welcome to Blood, Guts, and Paper Cuts. I am Sean, and I have the pleasure of introducing this week's episode. We sat down to interview Long Island's premier horror artist. Tommy Spero is so insanely talented. Hey, all right, so here's the measurement. Tommy is as nice as he is talented, as he is cool, as he is funny, as he is, did I mention creative? Oh my God! Okay, the proof is in the pudding, because, oh my God, I'm 1,000 years old. I just said the proof is in the pudding. Oh, okay. Oh, there goes all my Riz, kids. Anyway, where was I? Tommy sat down with us virtually to talk about his process, what inspires him to create these pop horror images, the woodcuts that he does, the prints that he does. He takes classic Universal monsters and he just goes to town with the colors and the aesthetic, and they truly have to be seen to be believed. So follow my chubby little fingers here pointing down. There we go. You're going to find the link to Bowman and Butcher. That's Bowman and Butcher. That's Tommy's site where you can buy all of these incredible prints, incredible woodcuts. We have horror drink coasters that have to be seen to be believed. They're fantastic. They make the perfect gift, if not for yourself, for anyone who loves horror or actually just loves really cool drinkware. These coasters are phenomenal. But it goes way beyond that. Tommy does original prints. He does original artwork. He does the wood carvings. Like I said, the wood cuttings. You have to check it out. It is everything that you want. There's that retro vibe, that pop culture vibe, that Warhol aesthetic, and it just all comes together through Tommy's own creativity and imagination, and he makes it completely and wholly his own. So, what am I blathering on about? Let's have Tommy tell you himself. Sit back, enjoy, go grab a drink, and please, I am begging you, when you're done listening to this episode of Blood, Guts, and Paper Cuts, please go to bowmanandbutcher.com, check out Tommy's incredible artwork, and buy yourself a piece. I bought 4 already. I need to make more money. I'm giving it all to Tommy. Bye.
Hey, sinners. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Sinful Cuts.
Boy, special episode tonight. We have none other than Tommy Spero. He is world-renowned as Bowman and Butcher. His artwork is so frantic and kinetic and cool. And Tommy, before I have you introduce yourself, I just want to get this right. We're definitely calling this pop horror, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been calling it. It just seemed to fit just the style, especially the way I've been using color in a lot of the pieces lately. I just felt like it's pop art, but it's really pop horror. Yep.
Well, say hi to our listeners, Tommy. Introduce yourself and let them know who you are.
What is up, sinners? It's a long time coming. We've been trying to get this together. So I'm Tommy Spero. The E is long, Sean.
Sorry. I'm always going Spero. Correct me. I'm an idiot.
Yes, that's okay. I've been living with it my whole life. No problem. So Tommy Spero, I'm a many things, one of which is a visual artist and graphic designer, which is how I met these wonderful folks here on Sinful Cuts. I'm also a musician, and, by day, I'm a software designer. That's what I do in real life. So, this is sort of my passion, thing that keeps me sane, keeps me in the basement, which is where my workshop is down here. And I'm just really jazzed to be here to talk about what I do and get into some horror chat.
Well, Shannon, I met Tommy in Huntington. We're all from Long Island. So for our listeners, there's a great town here on Long Island. One of the best towns, Huntington. It's kind of like the epicenter of all the things that are cool on Long Island. It's got great bars, a restaurant, but it really has a great film and art scene. And this is the perfect cross section for Tommy because I met you at at one of the art shows that they had down on Wall Street in Huntington, and I'm passing by this booth and I can see it from a couple of stalls away, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Seriously? And the closer I got, I started, my eyes are rolling back in my head and I'm like, oh, it's all happening. This is true. This is true.
and his wallet started creeping out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how I met you too.
Yes.
Because I met you. I definitely saw your booth from afar.
Yeah.
That was at the Moonlight Market. In Bayshore.
Yes, it would probably it was either the December or the October one. I don't remember which.
It was definitely the October one.
Yep.
Because I remember wanting to go to the December one because it was a Krampus theme, and I remember I couldn't go for whatever reason.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to go this year.
Yep.
Because it's super fun. But my wallet came out immediately.
Well,
and I have They Live.
Yes.
I know. But
Nice.
my husband put it very high. We have like cathedral ceiling, so it's high up on the wall.
Oh wow.
Tommy, for everyone to see. So for me, like right before this episode, I'm like, try to get it. Wasn't happening.
Okay.
It was like, all right, well, let me do you a favor.
Oh wow.
Let me do you a favor. I mean, Tommy, so I'm going to have these posted in the article, and I'm going to have the link, of course, to your website and your Instagram so everybody can find your work.
Thank you.
This is what I saw. I'm looking at Captain Spaulding, and I'm looking at Frankenstein, and I'm seeing these incredible, like this piece right here is just my absolute favorite. Like the cross section of the skull, and it's kind of. Yep. I mean, Tommy, what would you call that? What would you call the technique? Because it's almost like it's vibrating in front of your face.
Yeah. So it's kind of mimicking almost like 3D. Yeah. I have to be honest. I have no idea if it will work with 3D glasses. People have been asking me for a year since I did. I have the other one from that set here. There's actually 3 of them. So I don't know. I've been too lazy to order 3D glasses. Apparently nobody's reported back to me. Maybe you can.
Do it.
It will probably look 3D because the color offset is what they do. In that old school 3D, it's the blue and the red channel are sort of separated. And when you put the glasses on it, it will make it move. But I don't necessarily know that that's going to work.
Well, I'm definitely ordering the other 2 pieces because I'm a completist. I have to have the set.
Cool. I have them hung now at the art show, which we didn't talk about, but I have an art show hung right now at Industry in Huntington Village called Monster, the Pop Horror Art of Tommy Spero. It just went up on the 18th of October. It'll be there probably through the beginning of November. I'm not sure exactly when, but I have all 3 pieces hung there as a triptych, and I call it Songs for Mortals because those images, which are... They're probably metal engravings from the 16 or 1700s from a guy who was like one of the godfathers of surgery, and studying the body at that time. So this stuff's all in the public domain. I just thought they were really compelling, and I wanted to do something interesting with them. And I put them over song lyrics. So each of the 3 pieces there's a song lyric behind it, and you have to struggle to read it a little bit, but I call it Songs for Mortals, all 3 of them together. So
cool.
I love it.
Yeah, right? Cool. Thanks.
Very cool.
Let's start from the beginning, Tommy. I mean, are you born and raised on Long Island?
No, I actually was born in Flushing, Queens.
Same here.
Yep. Really, Flushing?
I was Bayside.
Queens. Okay.
Yeah.
Close
born
enough.
and raised in Bayside. Yeah, I knew I liked you for some reason. I was like, that sounds okay.
Got that Queens thing going on. Yeah. Listen, I spent a lot of time on Bell Boulevard. I don't remember much of it, but I spent a lot of time up there. In the 90s. So
you and I bumped into each other at Sullivan's a time or 2, I'm sure.
I'm sure, or any of those places. I'm not going to give my age away, but
me neither.
Some good times up there. So I was raised in Queens, and then wound up going to school. I went to high school in the city. So I went to LaGuardia High School of the Arts, which was the Fame School, but they merged the 2 schools that made up Fame. It was Performing Arts High School and Music and Arts High School. They merged them in the 80s into one school called LaGuardia on the west side of New York. So I commuted into the city for high school, which is a unique experience for sure.
Yeah. Great school, though.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable school.
Yeah.
So did you have horror influences back then? Were you always into horror, or was this something that developed along the way?
Yeah, no, the horror influences started really young. Probably exposed to stuff that I should not have been exposed to and taken to movies that I shouldn't have been taken to. I have an older brother who's about 9 years older than me, and our dad passed when I was like 6. So my brother just kind of took me everywhere, by default. And I saw Jaws in the theater. I saw Animal House as like an 8-year-old, which changed the course of my life forever. But I also saw Dawn of the Dead at probably 9. First theatrical run in the theater, and I was hooked. I mean, I was already into creepy stuff. Collecting Famous Monsters magazine and stuff like that. Yeah. But that sort of set it in a different direction. And then, then all the slashers started, so I remember sneaking into the theater to see Friday the 13th, which we should not have been in that theater, but we managed to get into the theater to see that movie. So it started pretty young for me. Yeah.
It's amazing how these things land at such an early age. And then that's it. You're hooked.
It's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just always want more.
Yeah. I feel like the music and art, that was I was ripe for the influence at those ages, so.
Yeah, for sure. It became a sponge.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my brother was a drummer. So, I tried to play guitar, it just didn't really work. So when he wasn't around, I would sneak behind the drums, and then, I started to drum also. So that, again, that started really young for me as well.
So now, were you growing a passion for music and then for art as well at the same time, or did one kind of come after the other?
Yeah, no, it was simultaneous, and just I think so much was going on culturally in New York City at that time, especially in Queens. My early teenage years is when the classic hip hop started. The break dancing and all of that. So I came from this classic rock background, Led Zeppelin and Kiss, which I had the jean jacket with all of patches. And, my friends used to make fun of me that I had 3 phrases in my vocabulary: fuck you, dick, and Led Zeppelin. And that was it. Those are the 3 things that came out of my mouth.
I don't know what else you need. I don't see the problem.
I think you could probably get by in most social situations with those 3.
Meanwhile, I'm like, are you related to Shannon?
Yeah, and it's, so then it started to shift as I was able to kind of find my own musical tastes. I got into hip hop and, started DJing and house music and all of that. So I like a lot of things musically, but the horror stuff was always going on. At that same time, as a teenager, I was dabbling in special effects makeup. And I would make up the kids on my block and send them home with gunshot wounds. And I was not very popular with the parents, but the kids,
get out.
I had a friend who he was Hispanic, and his grandmother was screaming in Spanish. You could hear her when he went in the house, and it was we laughed about it afterwards, but she was not thrilled.
Oh, so, that's great.
Yeah, so that was all kind of going on the same time, 12, 13, 14, I did my own, I wish I could find the pictures. I did my own Freddy Krueger makeup at probably 13 or 14 years
Very
old.
cool.
And there was no mask. There was no nothing, and I have a friend of mine who's really handy. We were really tight, and he made the glove out of metal. It was, you made the stuff, not dissimilar than I think what people do with cosplay today, where there are a lot of people who make things, but you couldn't go to the store and buy a Freddy Krueger glove or a mask. You had to make your stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's I think all of that just became one big melting pot for me, all of those influences. Yeah.
And it grows your creativity because you really have to rely on yourself and your own imagination and that creativity to create what you need. There's no 3D printers back then.
No, absolutely not.
At what point so you're doing the special effects for the kids on the block, and that's fantastic. So when does that start to transition into what you do now? These pieces that you do, they're phenomenal. I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, they are just amazing. So when did that all start?
It's funny because that part of me went dormant for a really, really long time. you grow out of things. And, though I went to art school, music really took over for me in my late teenage years and early 20s with DJing, and I was producing some hip hop records in my early 20s and stuff. So like the art kind of got pushed to the side. And so a little bit later in my 20s, when I met my wife, she was a professional photographer already at like 26 years old. She had her own studio and a partner. And I was like, I'm working in a mortgage bank, like really not dead end. It was a decent job, but it was boring. And I said, if I have to work for a living, because the music thing wasn't really happening at that point. I said I needed to do something creative. So I went back continuing ed classes at CW Post and learned Photoshop and Illustrator and like really rudimentary web design. This is sort of like in the late 90s. And I switched careers completely.
Wow.
Amazing. So I found I got the art back into my life, but very quickly art became, it was for commerce, it was commercial. Commercial art, meaning I'm doing logos for people and stuff. And I did like no art for art's sake. And I have to be honest with you, like I always joked that I would paint when I retired, like I would find it again. And a couple of years ago, coming out of COVID, I started dabbling in woodworking, of all things. I wanted to make something to hold my vinyl records, right? So I saw this thing on Amazon. It was like $20. I went out and literally probably bought $300 worth of tools to make this $20 thing. And
as you do.
It's fine. But it was cool to reconnect with that because my dad was he was a handyman. He had a workshop in the basement, and like a lot of the early makeup stuff I did down there. I would do some sculpting and stuff. So I got really connected, and which is what Bowman and Butcher is actually named after my dad. I got really connected to that, working with my hands, and I felt this connection to him. So he was an archer, like a hunter. He would hunt with a bow, and he was also a butcher. So whatever he would hunt deer, he would bring it home. So I have very early memories of this dead deer, like hanging, on the porch in our backyard, and he would gut it. I'm sure that's where some of the horror stuff comes from.
I was just about to say, that's
right.
Gotta be like, it was like normal.
Yeah. And he would he had the butcher blocks in the basement. He would cut them all up, and, we'd eat that stuff. I didn't love eating it, but anyway, long story short, getting back into working with my hands, led me to this woodworking, and I wanted to put my logo on a piece of wood. So I wound up buying a very small laser engraver, this tiny little thing, and I learned how to use that. And I'm like, well, what else can I do with it? And I started making the coasters that I have around somewhere.
They're incredible.
They're phenomenal.
Thank you.
I looking at it on your website again.
Thank
I remember.
you.
I always said I was going to go back next time I saw you. I'm like, I definitely got to get a set.
Yes.
Right?
Next time.
I will have
They're
the set with
fucking
your
incredible.
name on it. So it quickly evolved into, how do I use this laser to make stuff? And then within 6 months, I bought this giant thing, which you can see back there, that gray and white thing, which goes in that direction. It's about 5.5 feet long. It's a big commercial CO2 laser. And I started to make those pieces like the Captain Spaulding, where I'm engraving a piece of wood and then painting everything by hand. And it sort of, it escalated relatively quickly. And, I got back into doing graphic design, which the pieces like you purchased and, that they live. And, so I just got back to a lot of these things that have been dormant for a really long time for me, which was really cool.
But what I love about your pieces, about the pop horror stuff that you do, I love the colors that you're using. It really is like pop art. You have a Marilyn Monroe that is like half a skull, and it's that vibrant pink, and it just pops out at you. And by the way, I have to buy that as well. I'm spending a lot of money tonight with you, Tommy.
Well, if you're interested, I have a gigantic one that we printed for the art show. It's like 24 by 36 canvas. It's huge. So
yes, please. Yes, please, and thank you.
I'll send you the link. No, I'm just kidding.
Listeners, you absolutely have to see these works, because they just really do. They pop out at you. But it's not just the colors, it's the skill that you're using if you had told me that you were doing woodworking for 20, 30 years, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. For you to say that you just picked it up, post COVID, that's incredible. You are a very, very talented person. And
that's insane.
Don't take my word for it. Just use your eyeballs. Everyone will have links to Tommy's work.
Cool.
And just take a look at it. And, look, we're getting toward the end of spooky season, but let's be honest. If you truly love horror, it goes on all year long. Yeah. And we're getting into the holidays.
Yeah.
So what better time than to buy these works for people that you love or for yourself? Just get after it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not just about spooky season. I joke with my wife. She's like, "Oh, it's Halloween. You should sell more stuff." I go, I really could sell it all year round. I do events all year. These events are going on. I do a lot of horror conventions that are literally, I think every weekend there's a horror convention these days, around here.
You're always somewhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we follow you on Instagram and all I see is your booth set up somewhere. And I'm like, where is he now?
Yeah, I'm dabbling, in that. And it's an interesting arena because then, I'm in a place with hundreds of other people that are selling horror stuff. So, you kind of figure out what works and doesn't work for you. But listen, I always find it great to be out with people. I love talking about horror movies with people. I love seeing when someone gets excited when they see a piece that I've done and we talk about, what's your favorite. It's just like horror people are very down to earth. You can have it, as you guys know, you can talk to anybody about horror, and get into favorite movies and who's your favorite character and, all this stuff. So it's a good time. The events locally that we've met at are also really good for me. The one-day events, I tend to do pretty well because I have less competition in those markets also. So
we had talked about. Oh, sorry, Tom. I was just saying we had talked about Blobfest, and that could be perfect for you because there weren't that many artists there. I think you could really land there for sure.
That's Phoenixville, right, where the original Blob was shot, the movie theater there. Yep.
Yes. It might be very hot. So maybe somehow get an air conditioner that works outside.
Yeah.
Because we were like dying.
It was the surface of the sun.
Yeah, around 2 p.m. You still should go. Don't get me wrong. It was a great experience, and we would love to do it again. But there was one point, luckily we had shade over us. Obviously, we had a tent to help keep us in the shade. But at 2 o'clock, when the sun is right above us, we were just cooking. Yeah. It was just an oven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At that point,
it's no joke.
I can't believe how much water I consumed that day.
That's how much we love horror. That you suffer in silence or almost silence. We probably bitched and moaned a lot to each other.
I don't know if we actually we didn't really have time. True. Honestly, there was so many people that were there and constantly talking to us, and Tommy, to your point, like you said, it's people even if they weren't that much into horror, they still were cool enough to talk to us. They brought their kids who we were giving away little stickers. Every kid loves stickers. I don't care who you are or how old you are. Yep. You love stickers. Yep. But they were excited just to have a sticker. We had my friend made cookies. So it she made it with our logo on it. Nice. Killer cookies. She was actually at Moonlight Market too. That's why I was there. Okay. I was there to support her. Right, we were walking around, and that's when I met you.
Right. Yeah. No. So Moonlight Market has some cool stuff going on too. Those are
Bazaar, Moonlight Market.
Yeah. Those are really good.
Tommy, talk to us about some of your film influences. What are your go-to horror movies?
So that is by far my absolute number one horror movie of all time. And
nice.
Respect.
I Dawn of the Dead, I think because I saw it in the theater and it was probably the first horror movie of that scale that I saw in a movie theater. I really can't remember anything before that. I'd probably seen stuff on TV but and this is I'm 9 years old, so heavily influenced. Always been a fan of the George Romero movies, and that one in particular is just a number one for me. And so that poster I was able to create for a screening they had here at Cinema Arts in March with Galen Ross, who played Francine, the female lead in that movie. So
unbelievable.
It was cool to get to create that, and then we sold them and she signed them, and it was really cool. So that's the number one. Yep.
You have a fantastic Instagram video of you creating that poster that I'm obsessed with. It's so cool to watch the process in motion and then the finished product. And I just love, you get a little peek into Tommy's mind. Like, all right, this is, the inception of it to the creation of it to the finished product. I just love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, this particular style that I'm doing now for, I guess I call these alternative movie posters, is a lot of fun because it's like an analog/digital process. So I have this is a laser copy machine right here. So I find my source imagery online and then I print it and then I blow it up. So it gets very, very grainy. I don't know if I have any, so yeah, I'll blow things up. Like I'm working on a Terrifier thing now, so
nice.
You don't really see it, but it starts to degrade the more you photocopy it. The images get degraded. So what you saw in that video is me sort of laying out the pieces, and then I scan everything back in, and then I do the compositing and the color work in Photoshop. So that's it's a lot of fun to work that way. It's kind of, it's hands-on. It feels more organic that way to kind of pick the pieces I want to do and then, blow them up. And you just don't know what's going to happen, as you start to scale and photocopy and enlarge. So it's kind of fun. Yep.
Well, it creates magic because I love that poster. Yeah. And to your point, I want to just take a moment here. So on the website, we've got the killer coasters, which we mentioned.
Yeah.
We have those alternative movie posters, which sinners, I'm telling you, go on there. You're going to see something you love, if not everything, and just have at it.
Ship them all over the place too.
Yep. We've got dark design prints, and then your original art, which those beautiful wood engravings. So there's so much there online. So honestly, if you have an eye for cool horror themed art or just cool art in general, this is where you need to be. Bowman and Butcher. The links are going to be in the show notes. And I just want everybody to go there and to support Tommy because that's what it's all about, Tommy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Not only are you local, but you're just so insanely talented. So just want to get more eyes, more eyes on your stuff. You deserve it.
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. I would love to retire and just do work. Will be nice, but
me too. I'd love to retire and just buy your artwork.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. That I have a corporate day job. That keeps me engaged and interested. So I'm very fortunate to have that allows me to, have the headspace to to get out and do this kind of thing too. So it's cool to have both.
Well, do me a favor before we wrap up, though. Could you tell everybody where you're going to be in the months ahead? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so a couple of things coming up. November 16th, I'm going to be at the Dark Side Oddities Market, or Dark Side in New Jersey, they're calling it, which is at the New Jersey Convention Center in Edison. So if you've ever heard of Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market,
yes,
these guys are doing a one-day oddities market, very similar to the Moonlight markets that we talked about that they have locally. So that's the next event. That's Saturday, November 16th. It's like a 12 to 8 kind of thing. I think there's like 150 vendors. They're going to have tattoo artists on the floor and that kind of thing. So that's the next event like that. What's coming up, and you guys are getting a scoop here because this has not been announced publicly.
Okay.
And I think you guys should actually come to this. I think it would be a good event. I am bringing Long Island's own Felissa Rose right here to Huntington for a special hometown screening of Sleepaway Camp. That is
Shut up.
No shit.
Tommy, you had mentioned that there was a possibility of this during the summer, and I cannot believe it's happening.
Yep. It's happening.
Oh, we're there.
It's happening.
Sean, I remember you mentioned that.
Yep.
What date is that?
So Sunday, December 8th. The screening is going to be 4:00, but what we've decided to do is to make she's not here all the time. She grew up locally in Syosset. But we are doing we're doing a horror market on that Saturday. So she's coming back to Long Island on Saturday night, and Sunday we're going to do a screening at Cinema Arts. So screenings at 4:00, but we're doing, to make it special, we're doing a VIP meet and greet at 3:00, where you'll be able to come into the theater early. You get to meet Felissa. You're going to get a poster designed by me that I have not designed yet. So it's going to be a special event poster. And you get to pick your seating for the film. And then we'll open it up to general public after to come in and sit. She'll do a live commentary during the film, which is really, really cool, because if you haven't met her, first of all, she's the nicest person in that industry I think that you will meet.
That's all I've ever heard.
That's what you had.
She's the sweetest person
telling me.
in the world.
It's true. It is.
But I don't believe you. I have to go there and find out for myself.
You have to go there and find out. Yes. And, yeah. So, she's going to do a live commentary. So she's got all these wild stories and anecdotes that she will tell during the film. So she's going to do that.
I just watched it recently too. Like it just happened to be on I don't know, one of the streaming horror channels. Like sometimes we just throw them on, and it came on. I was like, oh, Sleepaway Camp, and it obviously left it on, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to share something with the two of you. My birthday is December 7th. Guess what my wife's getting me for my birthday this year?
Nice. Yeah, so
Tommy, we'll be there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, you guys definitely need to meet her, and hopefully you can make a connection to get her on your show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I know. I'm like, I'm crying right now.
Right. So we're going to be announcing that. We're setting up the ticketing and stuff with Cinema Arts right now. So it'll be at Cinema Arts in Huntington, and then after the film, she'll do like a little Q&A, and then we're going to do a paid autograph signing, after the show, so you can get posters, you can get some of her pictures, whatever you want, and we'll do that after. So it'll be a nice afternoon event from figure from like 3 to 6 o'clock, that day. So we're excited about it. She's excited to come home and get to do that. Yeah.
Got it in my calendar.
All right. So that's what's coming up, and then there's another event in Lindenhurst on November 29th called the Great All Nighter, another fantastic alternative market, hundreds of vendors, cheap beer, lots of cool stuff. And it's, kicks off Black Friday shopping season. And it's an event I've done this will be my 3rd year. It's fantastic. So
it's great.
Definitely want to do.
And what's that one called again?
The Great All Nighter.
The Great All Nighter.
Yeah, that's November 29th in Linden.
You had us a cheap beer.
I know. Yeah.
I know.
Well, it's in it's in a firehouse, so like the firehouse has this like, party room. So it's like firemen, tapping beers, PBRs. It's like, you really can't go wrong.
It's like quintessential Long Island, right?
Yes, it's very Long Island.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's spooky shit. Get a little.
I used to go to a lot of shows in Lindenhurst, and that's what I remember is just the cheap beer and the good music and maybe a mosh pit here and there.
Maybe, yeah.
So I'm gonna Uber there.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
that's so awesome.
That basically brings us to the end of the year. But Tommy, this is what I'd love for you to do. Use this as a resource. Shannon, my spiel. You are now part of the Simple Cuts family, where, like the mob, but instead of violence, there's just lots of hugs and support.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
A very tender mob. But please use this as a megaphone. We will promote anything that you have. Fantastic. Anything at all. So reach out to us. We'll put it on our socials. You want to talk about anything? It's an open door policy. You come right back on here, and I want to get people to industry to see your work. So I am actually going to go before it is done. I have to see your stuff hanging in a gallery. That is
let me know. Come down. I'll buy you beer. Come and meet me.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's up. So the stuff is hung in the main room of the venue. So which is the first time they've done this with an artist, to allow the walls, some of the walls at least, to be. There's art everywhere, but we're in that main room. I have 2 walls in there, and it's really cool in the space. There's always live music going on there. Great bartenders, guys make a killer drink. Depending on what you're into. So. Yeah, let's meet.
Very cool.
Let's
you
meet
got
up.
it. You got it. I'd love to. All right. So Shannon, take us out of here. Tommy, we're so happy that you came on. You are the first artist, by the way.
Wow.
You are the very first
Yeah.
artist.
Appreciate that. That's cool. That's cool.
And we're going to have you back again. So, you certainly won't be a stranger. You're going to...
I'd love to chop it up with you guys about some movies. Definitely be a lot of fun. Just so a Terrifier. So, whew.
Oh, yeah. Well, we never broke, right, Sean? I'm trying to remember. I don't think we have. We never broke down Dawn of the Dead, have we?
Tommy, you want to do Dawn of the Dead?
100%.
Perfect. All right, January.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to big time right now. We're booked to the end of the year.
All good. All good.
But we're going to have you on in January. Your movie is going to be Dawn of the Dead, and we're going to rip. Oh, that's going to be so much fun.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Right.
Or Day of the Dead. I might be thinking of Day of the Dead. I think we did Dawn of the Dead, but we'll do it again.
No, we didn't do Dawn of the Dead. We did Night of.
Right. Got it. Okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like we did, but did we? But we did. Okay, but we didn't. Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's yours.
We got you for that, Tommy. You're coming back.
Okay. I'm down. Totally down.
All right, Shannon, take us out of here.
Yeah. BowmanandButcher.com. Go and buy his stuff. Other than that, sinners, that's a cut.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.